It's the Unhappy Hour.
All right, everybody. If you're listening live, that took a matter of seconds. If you're listening after the fact, thank you. Thanks for finding us. Wherever you found us, make sure you've checked out all these places for our coverage, our music stuff, our spirituality stuff, our tech stuff, our political stuff, our sports stuff at thenewamericanmedia.com. Thanks for checking it out. Let's see, Facebook, search The New American Media with spaces in between and like the page. And on Twitter, we're at American_media_. Final one, I guess, youtube.com/The New American Media. I don't even know if I said that already or not. But I'm kind of eager to talk some sports because quite often sports is my distraction from politics. But I'm a Cleveland sports fan, so usually politics is my distraction from my sports teams, unfortunately. But I believe we have Zach ready to rock and roll, lifelong Cleveland sports fan and NBA scout. Let's see if we can get him on the horn.
Hello?
Zach, welcome to the Unhappy Hour. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
You know, I'm living the dream. Man, it's been a weird news week, of course, but I was just saying how sometimes politics is my distraction from sports because I'm a Cleveland fan. But, you know, this is one of those weeks where sports is finally my distraction from politics. So welcome back, man. What have you been up to? What's going on with you lately?
Traveling the country.
Yeah. Where were you at? Florida last? I think you were.
I was in D.C., and now I'm in. Then I was in D.C. earlier in the week. Flew down to Florida, in Orlando right now, and then taking a little vacation to Miami. I got a little work down there, but taking a little vacation this week to Miami, starting tomorrow night.
Very nice, man. Well, you know, I mean, I don't know where we want to jump in here because did we talk about Coach Popovich last week? I can't remember. When did he get
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But talk about it. Coach Popovich, you know, named Coach of the Year again. How much of it is who they draft and when you can get David Robinson at Tim Duncan?
He knows how to judge talent that's right for his system, and he's an unbelievable coach.
Okay. So totally deserving of all the accolades.
Who else deserved it?
Mike Brown almost got the Cavs to a 500 record.
Not even close. He finished like 20 games under 500.
Pretty miserable, man. Well, yeah, I mean, Popovich gets it, and they're a perennial powerhouse to be dealt with. Absolutely. So, I don't know. Move off of that. Let's talk about what's been going on in the league. Then, I mean, we're right.
So, yeah, the playoffs have been a little shocking. Watch LaMarcus Aldridge play the best basketball I've ever seen out of anyone outside of Michael Jordan and LeBron.
You've been high on LaMarcus Aldridge for a long time.
I've always liked LaMarcus. I've always thought he was a good player. I mean, he's really taken a step up in the playoffs though this year. I mean, look what he's done to Houston. He's demoralized them in his first few games.
Absolutely. And what do you make of Houston just laying eggs? And I mean, they're in a really bad spot. I mean,
it's not that Houston's playing poorly. It's just that LaMarcus Aldridge has been this good, and when someone's putting up numbers like that, you can't stop him. I mean, the guy made every jump shot the other night. You can't stop that.
So you can only hope to contain Marcus Aldridge. You can never attempt to stop him.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, so do the Rockets have a chance being down 0-2 against the Blazers, or stick a fork in them?
I mean, I doubt it. If Portland takes one of them at home, it's over.
Well, I mean that's something maybe we didn't see coming. But you've not.
It's the same thing with Oklahoma City too. Like I said, I've never been on the Scott Brooks bandwagon.
Yeah.
And look at that one. That train's starting to collapse. I mean, he deserves just as much heat as Mike Brown got for the Cavs not winning back at 6 years ago, or however long that was now, 4 or 5 years ago. He deserves just as much heat, if not more, than Mike Brown. There's no reason why Oklahoma City should have been in one championship with a loss, with one win in the finals.
So hold on, you're speaking past tense. Do you think this series is already done?
I'm not saying it's done, but with the way they're playing, they're not going to win the series if they keep playing like this.
Yeah, I mean the Grizzlies up 2-1 here, and I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, so if the
I'm not shocked. I mean, Memphis is a really good team. They beat them last year. Memphis played poorly the majority of the season. When they got Gasol back, they were unbelievable.
Right.
So, like I said, you can't control injuries, and when the records come back and at the end of the season, it takes a toll. But Oklahoma City, if you're the best team in the league, you should be able to beat anyone. It doesn't matter who you're facing or what road you have to face. You should be able to beat anyone when you're the best team in the league. And clearly they're not showing that right now. I mean, I think Miami has by far the easiest road to the title at this point. You know, the Pacers will be lucky to get out of the first round.
Well, the Pacers. Let's go to the Pacers before we get to Miami. Pacers are down 2-1 against the Hawks. I didn't see that one coming, but then again, the Pacers.
I mean,
were
I didn't see it coming because I thought the Hawks sucked, but I thought I had them losing in the second round. I had the Pacers going down in the second round. I had them winning the first round in 5 or 6. I had them losing in the second round in 5.
Well, I don't know. I'm just kind of surprised by the Pacers' collapse. I mean, is the coach gone over there?
I don't get it, and I don't know what's going on in their locker room, but I just don't get it.
I know, and I'm sorry to bring up that rumor last week that I'm not even going to mention again this time, but something is off. It's almost like when LeBron was playing the Celtics and everything was off. He put up numbers just like shoeless Joe Jackson with the Black Sox, but he wasn't himself, and the chemistry was so palpably different. It was off. It was very wrong. Something's happening with those Pacers, and I heard reports that Larry Bird met with Vogel and said that his job's safe, but I can't believe that would be the case after a collapse.
I don't know what's going on. I'm not even going to sit here and play around with it because I'm not going to sit here and speculate of what's going on because I honestly, I couldn't tell you in the slightest. I know Lance Stevenson and Evan Turner got in a fight, and ever since Danny Granger was traded, they've sucked. So, and Evan Turner's been terrible with Indiana. So, but that's about it. I know about the fight the other day only because that's what I read.
Tell the listeners about the fight a little bit.
I mean, basically, from what I heard, is they got in a fight before Game 1 at practice, and then punches were thrown. So,
wow, yeah, because I definitely heard that story about Kyrie Irving and Deion Waiters, and Kyrie wore a mask with a broken nose for a couple games. Can't really confirm exactly what happened there, and the organization has been tight-lipped, but you could tell they did not get along, and Kyrie he's not been a happy camper the entire season. So
nope.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that either. But let's talk about this with the Heat and the Bobcats because LeBron's he's complaining about hard fouls and the Bobcats actually had a chance for a second there. But
they're not a bad team. I mean, I wrote them off early in the season. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I didn't think there would be much. I mean, Al Jefferson has been that good, and so is Kemba. Kemba's taken a big step up this year. Kemba's a really good player. But the Bobcats have made their mark. They've got a ton of cap room this summer. They're one of those teams. I'm not saying they're going to make a ton of noise next season, but they're one of those teams. If they win another 7, 8, 9 games next year, if they can bring in some decent players, they could be a nice piece in the East.
Yeah.
They have the chance to swipe one of them in Charlotte. I hope it goes to Game 5 because then I get to go in Miami next week. So I hope it goes to Game 5.
How many times have you seen the Heat live?
Ooh, it's been a lot. I saw them a couple times this season, but it was on the road. None of them were in Miami. Last year, a bunch. Whether it was in the playoffs or over around right after New Year's last year against the Bulls. I've seen the Heat plenty of times live.
Let me ask you this something. Yeah, go ahead.
Or whether it was in LA against the Lakers or the Clippers. So I saw them quite a bit.
What arena is the most? Because you've been to so many games across the country working your job. What home court advantage would you say is the strongest?
From the arenas I've been to, I will say, honestly, and I'm not being a homer here, I would say one of the strongest was Cleveland back in the day when they had LeBron.
Oh, back in the day.
That stadium was so loud.
Yeah.
Nowadays, no way. But back in the day when they had LeBron, may have been the loudest arena I've been to. I definitely say Miami is nothing special. It's a wine and cheese crowd just like the Lakers. The fans don't get loud.
Just like
USC
tailgates.
I haven't been to an Oklahoma City home game, so I couldn't tell you. I mean, I've been to Boston. The fans it wasn't nothing, it was nothing major. But I can see where the home court advantage comes into play. I'm trying to think. The Bulls at the United Center have a nice home court advantage. It's a great arena. Fan-wise, it's a great arena. It's a big arena. It's huge. Even Toronto at the Air Canada Center, when they play well, especially in these playoffs, they've been really, really loud. I mean, their fans have been a force. Toronto actually has really good sports fans. They just rarely have any good teams. whether it's the Maple Leafs, Blue Jays, or the Raptors. They all usually suck. So
I heard Joe Carter's going to be starting a power forward for him against Brooklyn. Am I off base?
I think you're a little off, but
maybe it's the unhappy hour and I've been hitting the booze already. Just kidding. Let's talk about that though. With the Nets and the Raptors.
That's been a good
1-1.
series so far. I really like both teams. I think the Nets should win the series, but the Raptors have definitely surprised me this season. They really have. Ever since they traded Rudy Gay, they've been a lot better, and it feels like every team that trades Rudy Gay gets way better after they trade him.
Is that weird, or is he like Andrew Bynum?
No, it just happens. He takes a lot of shots. Doesn't necessarily mesh with the offense. So he's one of those players. He's not a bad player, but I mean, look how much better. Toronto was a below 500 team with him. They were way above 500 without him. Memphis was a mediocre team without him. They were close to being a championship caliber team without him. So,
well, there's been a lot of talk in Cleveland right now. But hey.
Oh my God, I'm driving. I'm sitting here right now outside at a bar, and I swear to God, there's a truck, literally with a side panel. It's all decked out. It's a Pittsburgh Steelers truck.
I was just talking about
Steelers in yellow and steel. I'm looking at this disgusting. I'm going to snap a picture. Hold on.
Make sure you tag it on Twitter at American_media_. And, of course, I do not encourage you to use your cellular device while operating a motor vehicle, of course, Mr.
I'm
Zak
back.
Baris.
I will send that to you in a minute.
Okay, yeah, just tag American_media_. And I hope everybody follows. And if you're not following...
I'll text it to you. I don't want to even tweet that.
You come up with something snarky. You got to come up with a snarky headline. No, I was going to say, talking about fans though, real quick, was like the USC crowd. You're talking about wine and cheese crowd. USC, it's like they'll have sweater vests, penny loafers, and lobster bisque. It's like, dude, that's not a tailgate, man. Like,
no, I mean it just depends what city you're in. I mean, where the fans are at. Usually when you're going to be in a city like Miami, where people aren't actually locals, Don't forget, people in Cleveland or Chicago, for the most part, the majority of those fans have lived there their whole lives.
True, yeah.
That's the difference. L.A. is a bunch of actors. It's just a scene. That's what it is. The Clippers have – I enjoyed going to Clipper games much better. The fan atmosphere is just much better than it is at the Lakers game. Lakers games, I'm going to see who's who. My seats, I used to go, oh, yeah, there's Jack Nicholson sitting 6 rows in front of me, or there's George Lopez or will.i.am and Will Ferrell like sitting 2 rows in front of me. It's like, okay. It's cool. You sightsee at a Lakers game, and a Clippers game, you actually go to watch the game.
Yeah, imagine a Clippers Lakers playoff game. Wonder what that would be like. No, but you mentioned the Bulls having a pretty good home court advantage. And you look at that series, Washington and Chicago.
Yeah, but the Wizards, John Wall has shown up. That's the thing. John Wall and Bradley Beal, this is their step to the next level. I will say that right now. This is their step to the next level. They've taken full advantage of it. I fully expect the Wizards to break out next year. They should be a damn good basketball team if those two can keep this up.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of moves do you expect them to make then?
This is the leap that Wall's made this year is the leap everybody expected Kyrie Irving to make, which he failed to do. So,
by the way, we're going to ask you this every week. Is Kyrie done in Cleveland?
No, I don't think so. I'm not willing to write him off yet. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Well,
like I said, I know I've been mentioning the George Karl thing for his team president, general manager for a while, and I know that got brought up. Everybody started tweeting at me and texting. I was getting a bunch of DMs and text messages about it. So
do you see it happening? What are your thoughts
I think it's
on
possible.
George Karl?
I think I'd let David Griffin keep his spot. Maybe George Karl president. But George Karl's a great basketball mind. I think he'd be a really nice fit.
And he used to be with Cleveland way back in the day in the 70s,
yes, he did,
right?
Back in the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. There we go.
Before Lenny Wilkins.
Oh, boy. Lenny was consistent, but Lenny Wilkins reminded me a lot of John Cooper with the Buckeyes. He'd have a really good regular season, and he just couldn't get it done when it really counted, whether it was Michigan or, ruining undefeated seasons or just not advancing in the playoffs very far. The Cavs had some very good teams with Mark Price and Brad Daugherty and Larry Nance and Craig Elo and, go down the list. Cavs had some very good teams. Do you think...
Well, if it wasn't for Jordan, it probably would have won a title or two.
You really think so?
I think there's a decent chance. They were pretty good.
They were well-rounded. They could hit you from different angles. Like
I said, I didn't watch them live. I was 5, 6 years old at the time, so
that's right. You're young.
So it was a little bit different for me. I'm only 26.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say I got you by about 8 years. So I was like that few years earlier than driving. I was 12, 13, 14, 15 and watching those games, and they were good. I went to Nets games with Drazen Petrovic, and we went to a bunch of playoff games, actually. Saw Charles Barkley with the Suns. They had great teams, back in the day. But, yeah, they ran into the steamroller, Michael Jordan, of course. And let's talk about something here. Two teams from Texas that have both won titles recently. You got a deadlock here with the Spurs and the Mavericks. What's going on in this series?
I have a feeling, San Antonio should be able to pull it off. I think Dallas gets hot at the right time. They play well. But I still, like I said, San Antonio.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to bet against Popovich at this point. You know that. And, there's so much talent in the West. It's almost like who's going to get out and play the Heat, especially with the Pacers falling apart. I mean, that is kind of what we're looking at. And Golden State, they're trailing the Clippers 2-1 or 1-2 rather.
The Clippers should win that series. They're the better team.
Yeah, and you're not seeing anything.
Blake Griffin's been unstoppable.
So, who's your MVP this year? I know we talked about this a little last time. Who's your MVP?
I said LeBron or Durant. I can go wrong with either one of them. Blake Griffin's in that conversation too. But if I'm going to go with anyone, I'm going to say LeBron or Durant.
All right, and pressed to make that call. Do you go Durant or do you go LeBron?
I'm not going to make that call. I'm lucky I don't have to.
So it would be that hard for you, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like the Heat, I feel like kind of took off the last, part of the season, but they do that every year. So, but I mean, LeBron's LeBron. He's still the best player in the game.
Yeah, he is.
If you told me I could have one player in the game, I'm going to tell you it's LeBron. So he's the most valuable player.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't lose any sleep if someone asked me what player I would rather take, LeBron or Durant. And Durant is a close second, but it's still LeBron.
Who's number 3? Who's the third best? Build a franchise around somebody. Pick one guy off any team.
It's not Kyrie Irving, I'll tell you that.
Why not?
I'm getting to the point where I think it's Chris Paul.
Really?
Look at the Clippers. They went from being one of the worst teams in the league. Paul comes in there, and look how good they've been.
Well, they added some other pieces, too.
Chris Paul is unbelievable, though. He really is. I think, look at the Bulls have done with Joakim Noah. Noah's up in that conversation, too, now. He's a top 7-8 player in the league now, too, maybe higher than that. Noah just won Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, Joakim Noah had more assists in the fourth quarter than any other player in the league this season.
Really?
Yeah.
More assists in the fourth quarter than any other player in the league.
Yeah.
How did Noah get so good? He was, he reminded me of like
he's
an
always,
Anderson
He's always
Varejao.
been a talented player. His offensive game, he's an unbelievable passer. I mean, the guy can pass the ball. It almost reminds me he's got that Vlade Divac as passing the ball now.
Okay.
He's got solid fluid motion. I mean, I don't know if you remember those Kings teams from the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
But it reminds me that the fluidity that he plays on the offensive level now, he takes smart shots, he gets to the rim, and he can pass the basketball. And which is why if I were a guy like Carmelo Anthony this offseason, I can have the chance to play with Melo and Rose. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to – if it's me, if I go to Houston or Chicago, if I go to Chicago, I feel like I'm going to win a ring if I'm Melo. Houston, I think, would be very good. But how much of a major upgrade is Melo over Chandler Parsons is the question.
Well, something clearly isn't working for the Rockets yet. They're down 0-2. I mean,
do the Rockets really need another scorer, a strict scorer, or do they need a different piece? I think they're going to be much better off with Kevin Love this offseason than they would be with Carmelo Anthony. But that's just me.
And Phil Jackson, your gut says he's going to go ahead and keep Carmelo or go different.
I have no clue. I really don't. I have no clue at this point.
Phil wouldn't actually step down and coach again, do you think? No way, right?
I don't think Phil's coaching. I think it's Steve Kerr.
Okay.
I've been saying that now for a few weeks. It's going to be Steve Kerr.
Okay. Nothing confirmed, but just your spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah, and I'm getting bitten up by mosquitoes out here. This is crazy.
Well, hey, we've kind of gone through just about everything here. I don't know if there are any other points you wanted to make. We've pretty much highlighted what's going on.
All I can tell you is from what I got the other day out of David Griffin's press conference, where if he is the next GM of the Cavs, expect them to probably make a big trade this summer. They're not going to sit. They're not going to sit idle. They're not going to. They're going to go out there and make a major move for this franchise. They have to. And like I said, a lot depends on what the Heat do, but they're going to make they're not going to go down without a fight and trying to get LeBron back. I'm not saying they're going to wind up with LeBron because I've been back and forth with this so many times whether he's coming back or not. And I'm not going to sit here and say he's coming back, but they're going to give themselves the best opportunity to try and land LeBron in free agency as they can. And if that means trading Dion, trading Tristan, I mean, I think Tristan's a given at this point to trade because he's going to be a restricted free agent after the summer, after next summer, and he's going to command $10 million a year, and he's not worth that. So if I were the Cavaliers, I'd start exploring the trade Tristan now, let Bennett get in the lineup more, and see what you can do to, improve this roster at this point.
And so, do you think that the Cavs have a better chance to get LeBron if the Heat win a championship, or a better chance
if they don't win,
lose?
they have a better chance.
Because then LeBron's seen the end of his big three, and it's time to bounce. Where if he gets one more, he's like, "Hey, we can do this again."
Yep.
Okay, so I'm still rooting for the Heat to lose.
Yep, I would if I were you.
That's never changed since he left. That won't be too hard for me. But, hey, man, try to avoid all those Pittsburgh Steelers fans and those mosquitoes.
I'm going to go tweet that picture right now.
You got to come up with a snarky headline, a snarky tagline.
Okay.
All right.
Will
Well,
do.
Zach, thanks for joining us again. We'll bring you back again. We're going to kind of do this, provided your schedule allows. We want to kind of get these playoff updates because, this is...
Next Friday we'll be up in Ann Arbor for my sister's graduation, so...
Okay. Well, we'll get you...
So, I mean, I probably will not be available next week. So if you want to do it on Saturday, we can do it on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll get you when we can. We'll figure it out offline, and you got some of that Pittsburgh Steelers tweet, and we'll figure it out. Tell your sister I said congratulations, the girl I've never met.
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, man, stay safe. Thanks, Zach. Everybody,
have a good one.
Yep, you too. If you haven't followed Zach on Twitter, please be sure to do so. You can find him on Twitter. He's at Zbaris. That's ZBARIS. Whew, that was a quick 20 minutes. Everybody we had on the show today had a ticking clock. They had a little bit of they were turning into, what is it, you turn into a pumpkin at midnight or something like that in Cinderella? Yeah, they all had stuff to do. So I really want to thank them for taking the time to join our program. It is fantastic. I love having cool people to have conversations with. And we have, oh, Lord almighty, about 3 years. In about a week, we're going to celebrate our 3-year anniversary here at thenewamericanmedia.com, and we have interviewed some interesting characters. And it's all on our YouTube page. It's all embedded on our homepage. If you dig, thenewamericanmedia.com, you can check us out on youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia and click subscribe. I mean, we've talked with Laura Eisenhower, great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, multiple Emmy Award winners, whether it's investigative journalist Ben Swan or George Norrie of Coast to Coast AM or John Telich, Cleveland sports legend with, 10 or 11 sports Emmys. We've interviewed presidential candidates, Gary Johnson, Buddy Roemer, former Louisiana governor. Gary Johnson was the former governor of New Mexico. Mike Huckabee at a music convention. We talked zero politics. We talked all music, which was pretty cool. Talking with him, former governor of Arkansas and presidential candidate. I mean, we just had John B. Wells from Coast to Coast AM. We've had a lot of interesting interviews over the years. David Wilcock. Lord, I'm just... William Henry. Monkey from Korn. Fieldy from Korn. Basically everybody in Korn. Actually, we need to get Jonathan Davis on. Heard his very staunchly libertarian, pro-freedom philosophies, and they did a new video where it's all against the NSA spying, their illegal spying stuff, and really want to get him on the program. He seems to get it, which I appreciate. But the point of this is we've talked to a lot of cool people and had good interviews. I from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of them for spending the time that they have with us. And we're just getting warmed up. We have a 10-year plan to become the largest media company on the planet, and we're celebrating year 3. We're still under the radar, and it's about to happen. This has been a hell of a past few months, and we're just getting warmed up. So follow us on Twitter at American_media_ and like our Facebook page by searching The New American Media. My name is Brian Engelman. I'm going to be signing out here for the TNAM Radio Network. I appreciate each and every one of you listening. We appreciate the comments, the retweets, the shares, the embeds, all the stuff you're doing. We're growing. You want to work with us? You want to help us? You want to design some graphics for us? You want to be a reporter when something's going on in your backyard? Do it. That's what the new American media is. Grab your camera, start clickety-clacking a story together, and you go find the truth. Don't wait to be told what's going on. Get out there. Stay safe and cover it. Because here at the newamericanmedia.com and the TNAM radio network, the news always matters. We will keep seeking truth, challenging dogma, and having fun. To be continued. Have a great weekend. We'll be talking with you again soon. Ooh, birthday show next week. Cannot wait. Take care. Peace.